Going back to Voldemort's physical death, it's literally just Harry and Voldemort. It was the same dumb effect. Okay, not dumb, but you've seen the effect before, the red and green. Voldemort...
We'll get back to that later. It's
Voldemort kind of... His face just kind of, like, falls off, and he flies up into the sky like a bunch of ashes. But, like, no sound, nobody cheering, no music. It was really... And, he died and it was over. And, like, nobody cared.
I was like, alright.
I don't think anyone in the audience cared.
When's lunch?
It really could have been a really great moment for the movie and the series as a whole, but it was really a lost opportunity.
I don't know. The next scene they're drinking coffee and Luna and Neville are awkwardly hitting on each other. It just did not feel right.
Okay, so now let's go back and talk about
Plot hole?
Yeah.
Okay, giant plot hole. All right, people who have read the book and maybe know the movies. All right, you're gonna have to stick with me on this. Okay, fourth movie. We know that fourth book, when Harry and Voldemort do their first real duel and they do the Expelliarmus Avada Kedavra, Harry doesn't die and they do they go at each other and the Priori Incantatem, thank you, happens. And they reveal this happens because of the twin cores, because Harry and Voldemort share the same phoenix. Is it feathered or something? Okay. So then that happens 2 more times in this movie, except, oh wait, neither Voldemort nor Harry have the same wands they used to, because Voldemort now has the Elder Wand. Harry's wand, if you remember, his perfect phoenix feather wand broke when he was facing off with Nagini in Bathilda's Bagshot's house. Yeah, I think that's right.
So butchered.
That was butchered. Whatever. It was butchered as Harry's wand was. So that couldn't have happened. Also, number 2, if you know, Harry had the Elder Wand, the technical Elder Wand, because he got it from Malfoy. Therefore, when Harry and Voldemort do the Expelliarmus Avada Kedavra the first time in that empty corridor, Voldemort should have died, but he didn't, because they were trying to wait for the Horcrux to kill Nagini. However, the Elder Wand doesn't wait for Horcruxes. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I just thought that was really sloppy of the writers.
And they do explain later.
It's a huge plot hole.
They do explain later, like, I took this from Malfoy, and I conquered the Elder Wand, so his wand was no match for me. But
I guess he was, because you guys were dueling for a good 5 minutes.
Another thing, speaking of Nagini.
Yes, go for it.
They were teasing hard at Neville not being the one to kill Nagini. When Harry was running away from Voldemort, he was getting very close with a Basilisk Fang to getting her. Ron and Hermione were creeping up with something.
That reminded me of something. You know what kind of... Alright, this is going to be a really weird thing. It reminded me of Aladdin 2 Return of the Jafar, where everyone's trying to sneak around grabbing the lamp and trying to burn Jafar's lamp. That's what it reminded me of. Alright, that was really obscure. That's extremely obscure. I'm sorry. Sorry.
So...
Moving on.
So, up to this point, having Neville been such a bigger character in this movie, we were thinking, like, are they really going to take this away from him? This is his
steal
moment.
This from Matthew Lewis? He's worked so hard.
But Ron and Hermione fall over. Nagini is lunging at them. Neville comes out of nowhere, and he slashes Nagini's
like a golf club swing.
It was nice. Steve said he made a weird face. Oh, no, Chris said he made a weird face. I'm sorry. I didn't catch it, but apparently it was funny. Something that I noticed, it's kind of sad that... okay, it's nice that Neville killed Nagini to save Ron and Hermione. It's kind of sad that he didn't get his big moment of Harry telling Neville that you have to do this. This is my dying wish. Get Nagini and we can get Voldemort. Nobody tells him that. He may have heard it in earshot when Harry shouted it as he jumped out of Hagrid's arms, "Get the snake." But I mean, they made Neville such a bigger character. That was really his
shining moment.
His shining moment in this movie, and it would have only taken a minute.
His only shining moment before was in the first movie when, he's on the broomstick and he crashes and falls into like a coma of some sort.
I mean, it only would have taken like 45 seconds for Harry to say, Neville, you got to get the snake. It's up to you.
Nudge, nudge, Neville, kill the snake.
But it really it doesn't carry nearly as much weight with the way they show it, and it's kind of unfortunate. That's it for the main movie. I guess we can talk about the epilogue.
I really enjoyed the epilogue.
It was the most like the book. There was a lot of lines straight from the book, featuring all the main actors in older makeup.
And special effects.
Yes.
That was Drake. That was actually Tom Felton's real girlfriend playing his wife. Fun fact.
He wasn't quite balding, but it was a good try. There's a really funny moment where Hermione was blocking Ron, and she moves, and he's just standing there like with his gut out, looking really like an old man. It was pretty funny. Yeah, that was when the music cut in. For that
the
really
original Sorcerer's Stone.
It was a good reprise.
I think it's called Hedwig's theme.
It was a good reprise. I mean, the epilogue is generally considered the worst part of the seventh book. It
was beautifully acted by Harry.
But yeah, it was really nice here, especially after that mess of a movie that came before it. It was nice to get that at the end.
So a lot of you might want to, punch us in the face right now, because I know there's probably a lot of you who really enjoyed this movie, and that's your opinion, but it's wrong.
And I mean, I don't think anyone's going to argue that this was a poor adaptation of the book. I don't think it was a very good movie either. The changes that they made were kind of arbitrary and silly. There's a lot of dumb stuff, and a movie that really should have been epic.
And I feel like the worst things about Harry Potter films is they make the characters do a lot of things that don't make sense. I could talk about the sixth movie, but I'm not even getting into that. And they try to shoehorn humor into it, but I mean, yes, there are comedic moments in the Harry Potter novels, without a doubt. But for the most part, Harry Potter's not, it's not a comedy. It's an adventure thrill. I mean, there are pretty adult themes going on, like, murder and genocide and torture, just to name a few. But I wouldn't call it a comedic series. So I feel like adding humor into that makes it worse, and it really changes the tone.
Yeah,
it confuses the audience, because you're going from a war basically about to break out to funny lines.
Jokes.
It just doesn't work.
So I mean, this series has never been known for being the most consistent movies, but I feel like for this one, it's especially disappointing because it is the final one, and it was their last chance to really make good on it.
Part one was so good.
Yeah, part one was really good. As soon as the epilogue was over, I said, let's get the hell out of here.
Matt actually stood up,
and I shouted at the movie theater, good job, guys, you ruined it.
I thought he was shouting at the people in front of us. I was like, Matt, what did they do? Like, he literally cursed them out.
I shouted at the filmmakers.
Who wrote this film? It was Steve Kloves?
Steve Kloves.
Steve Kloves.
Who wrote all of the other movies except The Order of the Phoenix. He apparently just forgot how to write.
Apparently.
In between these two movies.
I don't know. Jeez.
So, no, people in front of us, if you're watching, which I know you are, I didn't have a problem with you, except that your daughters were sitting next to me, and the one was extremely loud. Someone needs to teach her how to whisper. But, yes, I was cursing out the directors. And then we got the hell out of there.
Okay. So let's bring out that parabola that we're famous for.
Steve,
we made a new one.
Steve, what is our baseline for this week?
Oh, you mean the bottom of the bottom?
Yeah, the bottom of the barrel.
This is a movie I had the pleasure of seeing when I was 10. You might have heard of it. It had some famous actors in it. It's called Baby Geniuses. One of the worst movies of all time. It's about a bunch of babies who are geniuses, and it's really awkward. It was so bad, they made a sequel called Super Baby Geniuses 2. I think... Is John Voight in it? It doesn't matter. It's a bad movie, don't check it out.
So, I think if this movie had just been that, 2 minutes of Harry and Voldemort flying through the air, right up here with Santa's sleigh.
Really, really fun.
But considering that it has 2.5 hours more, I don't know, Steve. Where would you put this?
You know what?
I think it's got to go to the right somewhere.
It's lower than Thor, because Thor I had low expectations for, and I didn't really enjoy.
You know, I agree.
I had such high expectations for this movie, and I just was so upset from what it just disappointed my adulthood. So I want to put it like right here, like right there between Baby Geniuses and what was it, Thor?
And Thor.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
It means it's really low.
And you know, the unfortunate thing is that regardless of the quality of this movie, if you've read the books or have seen all these movies, you just got to see it. It's just something you got to do to finish it. I mean, everyone's gonna have their own opinion. I don't regret seeing it. I'm just sad that it turned out the way it did. So
yeah,
I guess that's it.
All right.
So until next week.
So next week,
we don't know what we're doing.
Well,
give us suggestions.
I have a riddle. I think I know what we're gonna do next week. I have a riddle. I don't want to give it away. You know what? We're probably gonna be doing the Human Centipede next week. Get excited for that. Get excited. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.